Before anything appears in this world of form, it is first conceived in the unseen realm of imagination. This is not poetry, this is law. All things, all conditions, all events begin as an imaginal act. The moment you accept this truth is the moment your life begins to shift in ways that defy logic and transcend time. To act as if is not pretending. It is not fantasy. It is the most powerful act of creation. You are not merely playing a part. You are occupying a state. You are dwelling in a version of yourself who already has, already is, already knows. And because consciousness is the only reality, what you accept within must express without. Imagination is the womb of creation. It is where the seed of your desire is planted, nurtured, and made real. The world you call real is nothing more than the harvest of past imaginal acts, many of them unconscious. The people, the events, the circumstances that show up in your life are not happening to you, but through you. Through your imagination, your assumptions, your persistent inner conversations, they mirror your dominant inner state. Once you understand this, you will stop chasing effects and begin to shape causes. The outer world is never the starting point. It is the echo. It is the mirror. You do not change the mirror. You change the face it reflects. Your inner conversations, your daydreams, your emotional responses, these are the creators of tomorrow. So when you act as if, you are not deceiving yourself. You are simply refusing to wait. You are refusing to be a victim of circumstance. You are taking your rightful place as the operant power, the one who imagines and therefore creates. You are aligning your inner world with the truth that what you desire already exists, and in doing so you bring it forth. Feel now what you would feel if your desire were already fulfilled. Move in the world as one who has received the promise. Think from the state of the wish fulfilled, not of its evitableness. The moment you do, reality begins to reorganize itself. People move, events shift, and unseen bridges of incidents form to carry you effortlessly to your imagined end. This is not ambition. This is not willpower. This is surrender. Surrender to the truth that imagination creates reality, that nothing comes to you unless it first lives in you. And when you make your inner world more vivid, more real, more natural than the outer, you bend the world to your will without force. You are not waiting for the universe to deliver anything, you're claiming it now in consciousness and trusting the outer world to conform. So go inward, imagine boldly, assume lovingly, persist faithfully. For in the beginning was imagination, and imagination was the first and only reality. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you call reality is a shadow cast by your state of consciousness. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. Consciousness is not a passive observer, it is the creative force itself. There is no power outside of it, no fate, no luck, no coincidence. Your consciousness, your awareness of being, is the one and only cause. To believe that there is anything outside of you determining your life is to give away your power. The job is not the source. The relationship is not the source. The money is not the source. These are effects, mere reflections of your inner state. And that inner state is entirely yours to choose. Your state of being is not defined by what happens to you, but by what you accept as true within yourself. If you believe you're wealthy, even before a dollar appears, that assumption, if persisted in, must harden into fact. If you believe you are loved, even when alone, that feeling will call forth a relationship you once longed for. not because you earned it or struggled for it, but because you assumed it, and that assumption became law. To act from the end is to dwell in the feeling that your desire is already fulfilled. It is to think, feel, and move through the world as the person who already has what they once sought. This is not make-believe. This is alignment. When you act from the end, you collapse the distance between you and your desire. You stop chasing and start embodying. Most people live reacting to appearances, trying to change the outside without shifting the inside. But when you understand that consciousness is the only operative power, you stop pushing against the world and begin to shape it from within. You become deliberate in thought, selective in feeling, and powerful in silence. The outer world is plastic to the inner vision. It bends, reshapes, and reorganizes according to the tone and quality of your inner state. The moment you accept something as true and feel it deeply, consistently, and naturally, the universe mirrors it. It cannot do otherwise. That is law. So ask yourself, what am I accepting as true today? What am I giving life to through my thoughts and feelings? Are you reacting to the world, or are you creating it? Your answer determines the shape of your tomorrows. To persist in an assumption, even when outer facts deny it, is the highest act of faith. It is an inner knowing that reality must catch up, not might, not maybe, must. Therefore, choose wisely, dwell consciously, assume boldly, because your consciousness, not effort, not time, not chance, is the only operative power that creates your world. And once you claim it fully, you'll realize you were never waiting on the universe. The universe was waiting on you. To live from the wish fulfilled is to dwell in the end. Not in hope, not in desire, but in the confident knowing that what you have imagined is already yours. This is the great secret of manifestation. You do not wait to receive in order to feel it. You feel it in order to receive it. Longing keeps your desire distant. Wanting affirms that you do not have. But the moment you shift from hoping to having, everything changes. You begin to live, think, speak, and act as one who already possesses the very thing they once sought. And because consciousness creates reality, the outer world must rearrange itself to match your inner state. This is not about trying to force outcomes. It is not about pretending. Pretending implies that something is not real. But when you live from the end, you are not pretending. You are accepting. You are accepting your imagined reality as the only reality that matters. You are walking by faith, not by sight, and trusting that what you have assumed within will unfold without. Ask yourself, if it were already done, how would I feel? What would I be thinking? How would I carry myself in the world? Let these inner answers shape your state. Feel the fulfillment before there is any physical sign of it. Speak with the assurance of one who knows it's on its way, or better yet, already here. This is the divine act of creation, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to persist in that assumption until it becomes your lived experience. Most people dwell in the absence of their desire. They react to the senses. They allow the world to dictate their state. But the world is simply a mirror, and a delayed one at that. If you continue to look at the mirror for change before you change your expression, you will wait forever. Instead, change your inner mood, your emotional atmosphere, your state of being, and the mirror must reflect it. Living from the wish fulfilled is a quiet, powerful confidence. It does not strain. It does not beg. It rests in the assurance that the seed has been planted and the harvest is inevitable. You may not know how or when it will arrive, but you know that it will. That knowing, that inner certainty, is the evidence of things not seen. It is the foundation of all creation. So do not ask, when will it come? Ask instead, am I living as if it has already come? That question, answered truthfully, reveals everything. The world responds not to your desire, but to your assumption. Live from the end. Walk in the feeling. Rest in the knowing. And soon, very soon, what was once invisible will stand before you, clothed in facts. For you are not waiting on the universe. You are simply waiting for your reflection to catch up. The world you see around you, the people, the places, the circumstances, is not the cause of your experience. It is the result. It is the echo of thoughts you once accepted as true, the outer picture painted by past assumptions. To live by what your senses tell you is to remain a prisoner of effects. But to master your reality, you must rise above appearances and live by the unseen truth within. The senses cry out for your attention. They insist that lack is real, that delay is permanent, that what you desire is far away. But these appearances are not fixed. They are fluid, ever-changing, and completely subordinate to the power of your imagination. To react to them is to give them power. To ignore them is to reclaim your creative authority. Ignoring the evidence of the senses is not denial, it is discipline. It is the spiritual maturity to know that the outer world is slow to catch up to the inner world. It is understanding that what you see now is simply a shadow, and shadows are cast by the light within. You must hold fast to your inner vision when everything outside of you tempts you to doubt it. This is why persistence in assumption is so vital. The world may show you the opposite of what you desire, but that is only the dying breath of an old belief. Let it pass, let it fade. Do not give it life by reacting. Instead, remain faithful to your imaginal act. Stay loyal to your unseen reality. Feel the truth of your desire fulfilled, even if all evidence denies it. Faith is not merely belief. Faith is the ability to remain unmoved in the face of contradiction. It is the stillness that says, "It is done," even when nothing yet reflects it. It is not loud. It does not plead. True faith is silent, serene, and sure. The outer world will test your resolve. It will tempt you to return to your senses, to be rational, to face reality. But you are not here to live by what is. You are here to create what will be. And that future begins with what you accept as true now in consciousness. So when the senses scream lack, you feel abundance. When circumstances whisper defeat, you declare victory. When nothing appears to change, you change your state and persist. Because you know the law, the world cannot help but reflect the assumptions you persist in. This is not about ignoring life, it is about mastering it. You are not at the mercy of appearances. You are the cause of them. Every time you ignore what is and stay faithful to what will be, you rewrite your future. So close your eyes to the facts and open them to the truth. Do not let the world tell you who you are. Tell the world. For what you assume, you become, and what you persist in must be. Faith is not hope. Faith is not blind belief. Faith is the unwavering inner conviction that what you have imagined is already yours, though it may not yet be visible to the senses. It is not something you summon temporarily, it is a state you live from. To have faith is to be loyal to the unseen reality, more loyal than to facts, circumstances, or the testimony of the outer world. Faith is not passive waiting. True faith does not stand still hoping for signs. It moves, it speaks, it thinks, and it feels from the end. It assumes the desire is fulfilled and walks in that fulfillment long before the world confirms it. The one who possesses faith knows that imagination is the substance of reality, that the invisible precedes the visible always. When you imagine something with feeling and accept it as true, you have planted a seed in the invisible field of consciousness. Faith is remaining loyal to that unseen seed, knowing that it will bear fruit in due time. You do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You do not beg the soil to respond. You rest in assurance. You walk by inner vision, and you trust the unseen cause to produce the seen effect. The world will challenge your faith. It will present delays, contradictions, and distractions. But these are not failures. They are tests of your loyalty. Will you remain true to your inner reality, or will you waver at the first sign of doubt? Faith is forged in those moments when nothing outside supports what you believe within, and yet you persist. You may be tempted to look for signs, to seek confirmation before you believe. But faith does not need evidence. Faith is the evidence. When you feel the reality of your desire within, when you live from that state, regardless of appearances, you are demonstrating true faith. And the outer world must conform to your inner conviction, for that is the law. Blinding your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the unseen is not a performance. It is natural. Once you've accepted your desires as already done. You speak differently. You walk differently. You treat yourself and others differently. Because in your world, it is already so. That subtle shift from asking to knowing, from hoping to claiming, is the very heartbeat of creation. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to force anything. Your only job is to remain loyal to the unseen vision, to hold it in your heart with love and certainty until it becomes your reality. So let others believe in circumstances. You believe in consciousness. Let the world follow sight. You follow vision. And in the stillness of your faith, you will witness the unseen made visible, the imagined made flesh. Because faith, when persisted in, never fails. The universe is not a distant force responding to your prayers like a judge passing verdicts. It is not a genie granting wishes on a whim. It is not something apart from you at all. It is you. It reflects you. Your inner world, your assumptions, your beliefs, and your persistent states of consciousness. The truth is simple, though often ignored. You are the operant power. This means you are the creative force, not occasionally, but always. Not sometimes, when things go well, but constantly, even when you believe you're doing nothing. Life does not happen to you, it flows from you. Everything you experience is the shadow cast by your inner stance. And once you take full responsibility for this, not as guilt, but as empowerment, you begin to step into your true role as creator. To be the operant power means you don't wait. You don't wait for signs, or perfect timing, or outside permission. You assume the state. You declare the end. You live from the wish fulfilled. You understand that if it is to be, it must begin with you, in thought, in feeling, in assumption. Many are taught to wait on the universe, to let things unfold, as if life were an external machinery operating independently of your awareness. But there is no unfolding without your consent. There is no divine timing outside of your own acceptance. When you shift within, the world must reflect it, not because you forced it, but because it is law. Inner causation, outer reflection. Always. This is not about ego. This is not about control in the traditional sense. It is about recognizing that your awareness of being is the source of all. What you consent to be true within yourself becomes true in the world around you. The moment you say, I am, you set creation in motion. The only question is, what are you saying I am to? You don't need to seek, beg, or chase. You simply need to assume, quietly, naturally, persistently. If you assume wealth, life reorganizes to reflect that. If you assume love, it comes. If you assume peace, it settles in your world. Not because the universe gave it to you, but because you accepted it as your reality. And yes, there will be moments when the old world resists, when things seem to contradict your new state. Do not react. Remain. Persist. You are the cause, not the effect. And the cause does not chase, it assumes and allows. So remember, the power is not out there. It is not in the stars or the signs. It is within you, right now, waiting only for your direction. Take your place. Assume your role. Accept the truth. You are the operant power. And when you finally believe that, not in theory, but in experience, you'll stop trying to make things happen and simply live as if they already have. For what you are within, the world must mirror without. You are not here to wish for a better life. You are here to assume it. The universe does not grant desires from the outside. It reflects your state of being from within. When you dare to live from the end, when you feel the reality of your wish fulfilled, and when you persist in that unseen knowing despite what the senses show, the world bends. Ignore appearances, dismiss delay, abandon doubt, assume boldly, faithfully, consistently, and let the outer mirror your inner. For you are not waiting for the universe to deliver. The universe is waiting for you to assume. Walk by vision, not by sight. Think from your desire, not of it. Let your imagination be the womb of reality. And most of all, remember this truth in your heart. You are the operant power. Everything begins and ends within you. Thank you for being present in this space, for choosing to rise into the power you've always had. And thank you for remembering who you truly are. Now go and live from the end. It is already done. Thank you. Today I stand before you not as someone with aspirations, but as someone with a certainty of victory. The path that leads to success isn't one paved by mere dreams. It is the path built by a mind that holds a vision so clearly and strongly that it leaves no room for doubt or hesitation. I am not here to talk about the challenges ahead. I am here to declare the reality of my victory. For in the realm of creation, all that I have imagined, all that I have envisioned, is already complete. The victory I seek is not something I chase in the future. It exists now, in the only moment that truly matters, the present. If you are to win at all costs, you must first understand this fundamental truth. The power of your mind is the greatest force you will ever encounter. Everything that surrounds you, everything that appears to be outside of you, is born from within. Your imagination is the key. Your thoughts are the mold. The world cannot resist the force of a mind that knows what it wants and acts as if it has already received it. So I urge you, as I urge myself, to assume the feeling of success. Live from the end. Do not wait for the world to show you success before you act. Create it within you first. Feel it, taste it, experience it now. Live your life today as the person who has already won. This assumption is your greatest ally. It is the seed from which your reality will sprout. And let us not forget one vital element: belief. There is no space in victory for doubt. To believe is to know, without any question, that what you desire is already yours. When you feel this belief in the depths of your soul, your world must rearrange itself to reflect it. But belief alone is not enough. You must persist. It is not enough to simply imagine your success today and then wonder why it hasn't appeared tomorrow. You must be relentless. The power of your persistence is the very thing that forces the universe to bow to your will. Do not waver. Stand firm in the knowledge that your victory is certain. Every challenge, every setback is nothing more than the universe rearranging itself to give you exactly what you have claimed. Remember this. The thoughts you hold are your most powerful tool. Watch them carefully. Every thought you think about yourself and your goals is a step toward your inevitable success. Focus on thoughts that affirm your victory and guard against those that seek to undermine it. You control your thoughts, and your thoughts control the world you live in. Victory is not an accident. It is a conscious decision made every moment, in every thought, in every assumption. Today I choose to win, and I will win because I know no other option. And so I stand here, not with hope, but with absolute certainty. I will win. I have won. I am winning. Thank you. We live in a world that often emphasizes external factors, our upbringing, our environment, our circumstances, as the determinants of our success. We are taught to look outward for validation, for resources, and for opportunities. But the truth is, you are not simply a reflection of your environment. You are the creator of your reality. Every thought you think, every image you hold in your mind shapes the world around you. Your imagination is the creative force behind your life. It is your internal compass, your guide, and your most powerful tool for transformation. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a canvas and your thoughts are the brush strokes that create the picture of your life. Every moment you spend imagining something is an act of creation. The success you desire, the life you dream of, is not something that you must chase or struggle to attain. It is something that you must first create in your mind. The power of your imagination is not just a fleeting daydream, it is the source of your reality. Think about the great achievements in history, whether they be in art, science, or business. Every breakthrough, every success started as an idea in someone's mind. It was imagined long before it was realized. The Wright brothers, for example, envisioned a flying machine long before the first successful flight took place. They did not wait for the world to show them how. They saw the possibility in their minds and then set about creating it. And in the same way, you too must begin by seeing the life you want to live in your imagination before it ever takes shape in your physical world. But imagination alone is not enough. The key to unlocking the power of your imagination lies in the belief that what you imagine is possible. You must align your belief with your vision. To truly create the life you desire, you must not only imagine it, but believe in it so fully that you feel it as though it has already happened. Feel the success, feel the joy, the pride, the fulfillment of achieving your goals right now. Do not wait for the external world to give you permission to feel successful. Your feelings are a reflection of your inner world. And when you feel successful on the inside, the world must reflect that back to you. It's not enough to simply visualize success passively. You must act as though you already are the person who has achieved that success. Every step you take should be informed by the vision you hold in your mind. If you see yourself as a successful entrepreneur, then behave as one. If you see yourself as an artist with a thriving career, then show up each day and create with the confidence that your work will be recognized. Your actions must match the vision you hold. This is how you align your inner world with the outer world. how you bring the abstract into the tangible. The power of imagination also lies in its ability to bypass the limitations imposed by the senses. Your senses are designed to interpret the present reality, but your imagination allows you to transcend that reality. When you use your imagination, you are not bound by what is currently in front of you. You can see yourself in any circumstance you choose, and in doing so, you begin to change the direction of your life. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. The more you imagine yourself as successful, the more you begin to feel that success within, and as a result, your life begins to shift to match that inner feeling. Many will say that circumstances must change before success can be achieved, but the truth is that success begins within. When you take control of your imagination, you take control of your destiny. You begin to shape your reality with purpose, with intent, and with a vision that propels you forward, no matter the obstacles that may seem to stand in your way. And so I urge you today to take your imagination seriously. It is not a luxury or a fleeting indulgence. It is the gateway to the life you've always dreamed of. Imagine not just fleeting moments of success, but your life as a whole, overflowing with achievement, abundance, and fulfillment. Let that vision be your guide. Hold it in your mind as your future is already a reality. Let your imagination fuel your actions, and let your actions create the life you've always known you were meant to live. You are not a passive participant in the events of your life. You are the author of your own story. It is your imagination that sets the stage, and your thoughts and actions that bring it to life. The success you seek is already within you, waiting to be imagined, believed in, and brought to fruition. So imagine boldly, act decisively, and trust in the power of your inner vision. Your reality is yours to create, and the power to make it happen lies within your imagination, which, once fully realized, will move mountains and shape the world as you've always dreamed it to be. We often hear the phrase, act as if, or live as though, but how many of us truly embrace the depth of that idea? To understand the profound power behind assumption is to recognize that our beliefs, our perceptions, and the feelings we carry within us are the architects of our reality. The reality you experience today is not a result of external circumstances alone. It is shaped by the assumptions you hold, the feelings you nurture, and the attitudes you maintain. Assumption is not mere wishful thinking or fleeting fantasy. It is the conscious decision to align your thoughts and feelings with the desired outcome as though it has already manifested. When you truly internalize the feeling of having achieved what you want, you shift your energy, your thoughts, and your actions in such a way that you begin to attract and align with the very circumstances you seek. You see, your mind cannot distinguish between what is imagined and what is real when you assume a feeling so deeply. This is not a call to fake it until you make it, but rather to embody the truth that the outcome you desire is already in your possession now. This goes beyond positive thinking or affirmations. This is about becoming the person who has already succeeded right now in your thoughts, your emotions, and your entire approach to life. When you assume the feeling of your desired outcome, you act from a place of certainty. You no longer wait for external events to change before you can feel successful, fulfilled, or happy. Instead, you assume those feelings as your natural state. If you desire wealth, for instance, you do not need to wait for the money to appear to feel abundant. You must feel abundant first. Feel it as though the wealth has already arrived. Walk, think, and act as if your financial dreams are already a reality. In doing so, you are sending a message to the universe and to your subconscious mind that this is the truth you are now living. The beauty of assumption is that it is a choice. You can choose to assume that success, love, happiness, or abundance is already yours. The world around you will begin to shift, adjust, and reflect that inner assumption. This is not magic in the traditional sense. This is the law of mind in action. The way you perceive your world, how you assume it to be, will shape how you interact with it and, in turn, how it responds to you. When you act from the assumption that your desired outcome is already yours, you align your energy and your actions with it. Imagine what your day would look like if you assumed success in everything you did. How would you carry yourself? How would you make decisions? How would you respond to challenges? When you assume success as a reality, you radiate confidence, clarity, and focus. Your actions flow effortlessly because you know with absolute certainty that the outcome is inevitable. And this energy is magnetic. Now, it's important to understand that assumption is not about bypassing reality. It is not about ignoring challenges or obstacles. Rather, it is about seeing beyond them. When you assume success, you develop a mindset that allows you to handle difficulties with a sense of calm and trust. You know that even if setbacks arise, they are temporary and part of the larger process. You are already operating from the position of someone who has succeeded, and as such you act from a place of knowing that everything you face is simply a stepping stone toward the inevitable realization of your dreams. Furthermore, your assumptions shape your relationships, your health, and your entire experience of life. If you assume love and connection, you draw people toward you who resonate with that energy. If you assume health and vitality, your body responds accordingly. The assumption of well-being creates the conditions for well-being to manifest, just as the assumption of success creates the conditions for success. This power of assumption is not a superficial exercise. It requires a deep trust in your own inner knowing and a willingness to fully embody the feeling of your desired outcome. It is about acting from a place of confidence that you already have what you want, even before it physically manifests. When you make this assumption with conviction, you begin to radiate a magnetic energy that draws everything you need toward you. To assume the feeling of your desired outcome is to take responsibility for your reality. It is to stop waiting for life to show you what you want and instead to step into the role of the creator of your world. You must live as though your desires have already been fulfilled, because in truth, they are already waiting for you in the realm of possibility. I want to remind you that your assumptions are the seeds of your future. I want to remind you that your assumptions are the seeds of your future. What you assume today will shape the events of tomorrow. The world is responding to you based on the energy you project, and that energy is rooted in your assumptions. Assume the feeling of your desired outcome now, and you will begin to see your world transform. Your future is waiting for you to step into it with the full confidence that what you want is already yours. So go ahead, assume the life you want. Assume it with all your heart, live it with all your energy, and watch as the world bends to meet the vision you hold in your mind. Your assumptions are the key to your transformation. Unlock them, and the life you desire will unfold before you. In life, we often find ourselves bogged down by our current circumstances, our limitations, challenges, and the realities of the present moment. The difficulty in achieving our dreams often stems from focusing too much on the how of our situation rather than the why and the what. Our present conditions, no matter how they may seem, should never be the determining factor in the life we choose to create. Living from the end is a powerful and transformative way of living that shifts the focus from the present reality to the desired future reality we want to manifest. It is not about waiting for the perfect conditions or for everything to fall into place. It's about choosing to embody your future success right now in the present moment. To live from the end means to live as though the outcome you desire has already arrived. It means adopting the feelings, attitudes, and behaviors of the person you envision yourself becoming once your goals are achieved. Instead of waiting for success to show up before you act or think differently, you must begin by acting as if you are already the person who has succeeded. The secret is in the internal shift, changing your identity to align with the person who has already reached their desired goal. The first step in living from the end is to clarify the exact outcome you want, Be specific in your vision. What does success look like to you? What does it feel like? See it clearly in your mind and feel it as though it is already real. Once you have that vision firmly in place, step into it. Don't wait for the circumstances to change before you take action. Instead, imagine that you've already arrived at the destination. You've already reached the pinnacle of success. How would you walk? How would you speak? What decisions would you make? These are the actions that must mirror your vision. When you live from the end, you no longer let your current circumstances dictate your state of mind. Too many of us fall into the trap of responding to the external world as if it defines who we are and what we can achieve. We look at the present moment and think, I'm not where I want to be yet, and thus we act from a place of lack or limitation. But when you live from the end, you detach yourself from this mindset. You stop letting the present determine your future. Instead, you recognize that the future is already yours in the realm of possibility, and you start living from that future today. The power of living from the end lies in the understanding that your mind and emotions create the blueprint for your external world. By holding a clear, vivid picture of your success and embodying the feelings of accomplishment and fulfillment, you are directing the course of your reality. The mind does not distinguish between past, present, and future in the way that we typically perceive time. When you feel something deeply and vividly, it is as if that event is happening now. Therefore, when you emotionally experience the feeling of having already achieved your goal, your subconscious begins to draw experiences and circumstances toward you that match that internal state. But this way of living requires a radical shift in perception. It demands that you stop looking at your present limitations and start looking at your potential future with the full belief that it is already unfolding. Instead of focusing on what you lack, you must focus on what you have already become. This is where true transformation happens. When you act from the end result, you give the universe no choice but to meet you where you are energetically. The world responds to the energy you emit. If you hold the energy of success, of completion, of fulfillment, the external world must rearrange itself to match that energy. Living from the end also brings peace of mind. When you live from the end, you no longer have to worry about the uncertainties or obstacles of the present moment. The worries and fears that arise from what could go wrong fade away, because you are no longer focused on the problems. Instead, you are focused on the certainty of your success. Your trust in the process is unshakable. You live with the confidence that what you desire is already in motion, and the obstacles are simply part of the journey, not the final destination. It's important to recognize that this is not about denial or ignoring reality. It's about choosing to elevate your perception of reality. It's about deciding that your future is not a distant event, but a present reality, one that is unfolding right now. When you hold the vision of your success in your mind and act as if it is already a reality, your actions and energy shift, and the world around you begins to align with that vision. So I challenge you today to live from the end. Step into the future version of yourself, the one who has already achieved what you desire. Walk through the world as that person. Speak, act, and think from that place of certainty. Your present circumstances are not your future. They are simply the stepping stones to the reality you are about to create. You have the power to create your reality, not by waiting for the world to change, but by changing the way you view and experience the world. When you live from the end, your reality will begin to shift to meet your vision. There is no limit to what you can achieve when you choose to live as though your success is already here, already unfolded. Let this be the truth you live by. You are not waiting for success. Success is waiting for you to step into it. At the very heart of creation lies one unbreakable truth. Your mind is a powerful force. It is the canvas upon which your entire reality is painted. and the quality of your beliefs, thoughts, and faith in your own abilities will determine the masterpiece you create. But belief is not a passive concept. It is not merely something you say you have. Belief is a living, breathing force that requires absolute conviction. To manifest the life you desire, you must cultivate unshakable belief, the kind of belief that leaves no room for doubt, that cannot be undermined by present circumstances, and that allows you to act in alignment with your desired outcome, regardless of external conditions. Faith is often mistaken for hope. Hope can be uncertain. It can waver depending on the circumstances of the moment. Faith, however, is different. Faith is the knowledge that what you desire is already yours. It is unwavering. It is the certainty in your heart that your vision is not a distant dream, but a reality that is unfolding before you. When you have faith in the power of your mind, you understand that your inner world shapes your outer world. How your beliefs are the lens through which you see the world, and as you shift those beliefs, the world around you shifts to reflect them. For many, the challenge lies not in the lack of desire, but in the presence of doubt. We have all experienced moments where fear and uncertainty begin to creep in, where our minds start to question whether we are truly worthy or capable of achieving our dreams. But let me make one thing clear. Doubt has no place in the realm of creation. Doubt is the opposite of belief. It is a form of resistance that blocks the flow of creative energy. When you entertain doubts about your ability to manifest your desires, you create a barrier that prevents your desires from coming to fruition. The more you focus on the limitations, the more you will see them. The more you entertain uncertainty, the more the universe will respond by reinforcing that uncertainty in your life. But when you choose faith, when you choose to believe wholeheartedly that what you desire is already yours, something extraordinary begins to happen. Faith creates alignment. Faith allows you to connect to the higher frequencies of your desires, those unseen energies that are already in motion behind the scenes. Belief is the glue that holds your vision together. It aligns your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions with the very outcome you seek. Belief makes your vision tangible, drawing the circumstances, opportunities, and people you need toward you. Faith and belief are not just theoretical concepts. They are tools that must be applied consistently every single day. When you face challenges, it is your faith that will carry you through. When setbacks arise, it is your belief that will remind you that every obstacle is simply a step toward your inevitable success. Without faith, every challenge appears as an insurmountable roadblock, but with belief, every challenge is seen as an opportunity to grow, learn, and strengthen your resolve. Your belief does not waver because you know the end result is certain. Believing that what you desire is already yours does not mean you sit back and do nothing. It means that you act as though you already have it. It means you make decisions from a place of confidence, not fear. It means you speak, think, and behave as if the life you dream of is your present reality. The more you live from this place of belief, the more the world around you begins to shift to meet that expectation. The power of belief also lies in its ability to shape your identity. When you truly believe that your desired outcome is already yours, you begin to step into the version of yourself who has already achieved it. You no longer identify with the person who is striving to get there. You identify with the person who is already there. You begin to embody the qualities of someone who has already succeeded: confidence, clarity, and a sense of inner peace. This shift in identity propels you forward and aligns your external reality with your inner vision. In the moments when doubt or fear rise, and they will, because the human mind is often conditioned to look for evidence to confirm its fears, hold firm to your belief. Faith is not the absence of fear. It is the refusal to allow fear to control your actions. It is the willingness to trust in the unseen, to know that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even when you cannot see the evidence yet. When you believe, you give the universe permission to act on your behalf. Your belief is the invitation for your desires to unfold, for the opportunities to present themselves, and for your dreams to materialize. Remember, belief is a choice. You choose to believe in your vision, in your power, and in your ability to create the life you desire. The more you nurture this belief, the stronger it becomes, and the more your life will begin to reflect the unshakable foundation of faith you have established. You must, without reservation, trust that your mind holds the power to shape your reality. When you do, nothing can stand in the way of your success. So choose faith over doubt. Choose belief over uncertainty. Stand firm in the knowledge that your desires are already yours. Believe it with every fiber of your being, and watch as the world aligns to bring your vision to life. When you have absolute faith in your mind's power, there is nothing that can stop you. The universe has no choice but to conspire in your favor when you believe in your own creative power. Trust in your ability to manifest your desires, and know without a shadow of a doubt that what you seek is already on its way to you. There is a sacred power in silence that the world has forgotten. In a culture obsessed with action, noise, and explanation, the quiet ones appear passive, but only to those who do not understand. You see, silence is not the absence of power. It is power restrained, directed inward to where all creation begins. Act as silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because what you have already seen in your mind is far greater than what others are still trying to find. When you imagine, you are not playing games, you are building reality. In your inner world, if you walk as the one who has already received, if you speak within as the one who already is, then the outer world must conform. It cannot do otherwise. It is law. What is accepted silently as truth within must appear without. But here's what most never grasp. When you share too soon, when you speak of your desires before they are rooted in certainty, you pull them out of the soil, you expose the seed to the elements, and delay its harvest. Talking is not creating. Creating happens in the silence of assumption. Do not perform for the world. Do not explain. Act as silent, knowing that the inner act is complete. That is all that is needed. It is not what you do externally that shapes your life. It is what you assume internally, in stillness, without needing applause, reassurance, or validation. When you enter the state of the wish fulfilled, not hoping, not waiting, but being, quietly being, the world bends to meet you. It will come. The people, the events, the how, they will organize themselves around your still and silent knowing. So let others run and shout. Let them seek. You be still, be silent, and know you have already received. When you act as silent, you do not beg, you do not ask repeatedly, you do not chase. You rest, knowing it is done, and in that rest all things move. The one who acts in silence walks with invisible authority. The world does not see it coming, but it must respond. For the universe is not responding to what you say, it is responding to who you are in secret. Act as silent, and you will get everything. Silence has long been misunderstood. People fear it. They interpret it as emptiness, a void, a lack. But this is the illusion of the senses. True silence is not absence, it is presence. It is not the end of something, but the beginning of everything. When rightly understood, silence becomes the most fertile ground for creation. the secret chamber of manifestation, and the dwelling place of all fulfilled desire. You were taught to associate silence with nothingness. To be silent is to have no opinion, no action, no movement. But real silence, spiritual silence, is not passive. It is alive. It is charged with the full weight of belief, of knowing, of unseen activity. It is the space where the soul whispers, "It is done," even while the world sees nothing. Yet, in silence you do not cease to think, you cease to contradict. You stop arguing with your own vision. You stop explaining, justifying, and defending your desires. You stop asking others if you're allowed to dream. You turn inward and you align. You become one with the vision you hold in mind, and in that alignment you merge with the reality that already exists in higher dimensions. That reality, though invisible now, is as real as the breath in your body. You don't need to scream to create. You don't need to announce your plans. Creation is quiet. Watch nature. A seed becomes a forest in utter silence. The stars move in silence. A child grows in the womb without a single sound. So too do your desires take root in the fertile soil of quiet belief. Those people exhaust their power by scattering it outward. They speak of things before they are settled in faith. They argue about timing, about methods, about what's realistic. They give their attention to doubt and then wonder why the manifestation delays. But the one who understands silence knows better. They keep their vision sacred. They do not discuss it. They do not explain. They assume it, silently, certainly, and walk in the state of the fulfilled wish. This is not denial, this is dominion. To hold a vision silently is to declare your dominion over the world of form. It is to say, I need no proof, I believe. And belief, pure and unwavering, is always enough. Silence is not the opposite of action. It is the highest form of action. When you enter the inner stillness with clarity, with intensity, and with love for the thing imagined, you activate the laws of creation. You impress upon the subconscious the image of what must be, and the world faithfully, without fail, reshapes itself to mirror that image. So, embrace silence, not as lack, but as fullness. Not as absence, but as presence. Retreat from noise, not because you're uncertain, but because you're sure. Let the silence say what your words cannot. Let your stillness speak for you. The one who walks in silent certainty never walks alone, for all things are already moving to meet them. The average mind has been taught to treat imagination as fantasy, a place for daydreams, art, and escapism. But imagination is not some soft, sentimental playground. It is the original realm of creation. It is the womb of reality. What you consistently see in your mind becomes the very substance of your outer world. Everything you now experience, your relationships, your finances, your body, your surroundings, was once held, even if only briefly, in someone's imagination. There is no thing made that was not first imagined. Imagination precedes manifestation. It is not afterthought. It is blueprint. You may think you are bound by facts, by what you can see and touch, but the truth is, the senses only report what has already been accepted as real within consciousness. Your five senses are followers, not leaders. They do not determine truth. They reflect belief. So when you close your eyes and live from the scene of your fulfilled desire, you are not playing pretend, you are engaging with the truest level of reality. All transformation begins in the unseen. You must feel rich before the money appears. You must feel loved before the person arrives. You must feel healthy before your body transforms. The outer world does not make you feel. Your feeling creates the outer world. And the source of that feeling is imagination. Imagination, when disciplined, becomes the divine tool of manifestation. When you enter the scene in your mind and dwell there, not as a watcher but as a participant, something begins to shift. You become one with your desired reality. You stop wishing and start being. And being is the secret. Most people imagine unconsciously. They replay fears, doubts, worst-case scenarios, and then they live them. The world seems cruel, but it is only obedient. It reflects what has been impressed upon it, and the strongest impressions are made in imagination, through emotion, belief, and repetition. So choose your inner world wisely. Build the life you want from the inside out. Construct your reality in thought and feeling before you expect it in form. See yourself where you want to be. Hear the words you wish to hear. Feel the satisfaction of the result. Now, not later. Now in imagination. Now in truth. Dare to believe that what you imagine is real, more real than your current circumstances. Hold the vision, even when nothing outside agrees, especially then, because reality bends to sustained assumption, and the longer you live in the state of your desire fulfilled, the faster it hardens into form. Imagination is not secondary, it is primary. It is not an escape, it is a return to your power, your truth, your divine ability to create. So stop waiting for the world to change your world within. Rehearse the new reality until it feels more natural than the old. The moment you accept it inwardly, the outer world begins to shift to catch up. What you consistently see in your mind, you will one day see with your eyes. There is a profound, quiet magic in the act of keeping your desires to yourself until they are fully taken root within. You've been taught to talk about your dreams, to share them with the world, to express your hopes aloud. But in doing so, you risk breaking the very spell that is silently creating your reality. When you speak too soon, you expose your desires to doubt. You allow the outer world to have a say before your vision has been firmly established in the unseen. It is like planting a seed and then pulling it out of the soil before it can sprout, simply because you feel you need to show someone that it's there. This is not the way of creation. The truth is, speaking prematurely can often do more harm than good. The world around you is full of opinions, judgments, and energies that are far less aligned with your vision than your inner world is. When you reveal your desires before you have fully internalized them, when you speak them to others before you have firmly assumed their fulfillment in your heart, you invite outside influences that can plant seeds of doubt in your mind. The moment you share your dreams with others, you expose them to the uncertainties of the world. They may not share your fate, and often they do not share your vision. Their disbelief, their doubts, their logical minds, all of these can seep into your own consciousness if you are not careful. You may find yourself questioning whether your desires are possible, wondering if you're being unrealistic, or allowing fear and hesitation to settle in. And the more you speak, the more these energies have a chance to infiltrate your own thinking, pulling your desires further out of reach. The power of creation is in the silence of belief. Your imagination is the key that unlocks all manifestation. When you silently assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you dwell in the state of having received, the world responds to that inner knowing. But the moment you open your mouth and share your hopes too early, you are stepping out of the silence. And in doing so, you are telling the world that you are uncertain, still seeking, not yet convinced. Creation is not about asking for permission. It is about claiming what is already yours in the unseen, holding the vision firmly within and walking forward as if it has already come to pass. This is the power of silent assumption. This is the art of living as though your desire is already a fact, and so it must appear. Do not let others' opinions or the uncertainty of the outside world influence your internal world. Keep your dreams to yourself until they are firmly anchored in your heart, until they feel like a part of who you are. When you do this, you will have the power to act with confidence, knowing that the spell is unbroken, the manifestation certain. So let your desires remain sacred for now. Protect them from the doubt of others and protect them from the wavering thoughts within you. Speak only when you have reached the point of unwavering conviction. When you know your desires are as good as done, then speak. But until then, let your silence be the fertile ground in which your desires will grow into tangible reality. Speaking too soon breaks the spell, but silence holds the key to creation. The world is filled with action, motion, and noise. It often seems like the only way to achieve anything is to hustle, push, and force the universe into compliance with your desires. We've been conditioned to believe that external effort is the key to success, but this is a misconception. The real power is not in the outer action, but in the inner act, the silent inner movement of consciousness. The inner act is the true act. It is the thought, the feeling, the assumption that you impress upon your subconscious mind. This is the act that shapes your reality. All outer action is simply a reflection of what you have first done within. When you change your inner world, the outer world must follow. And the beauty of this is that the only act you truly need to take is the one within, the act of imagining, believing, and assuming the end result is already done. Think for a moment. All that you experience in the external world was first a thought, an assumption, a feeling that someone held within their mind. The chair you sit in, the clothes you wear, the home you live in, all of these things began as invisible concepts in the mind of their creator. They were acted upon in silence, in thought, long before they ever appeared in physical form. So why then would you believe that your desires are any different? When you truly understand the power of the inner act, you stop seeking outside for solutions. You stop trying to force the world to conform to your wishes through constant striving. You recognize that the only place where the change needs to occur is within your own mind. The world is but a mirror, reflecting your innermost assumptions. If you want the mirror to change, you must first change what you are reflecting in it. The inner act is simple. It requires no grand effort, no physical action. It requires only that you align your consciousness with your desire. You must feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled now in the present moment. You must live as if what you desire has already come to pass. In doing so, you impress that assumption upon your subconscious, and the universe must bring it to fruition. The law of attraction is not an external force that you need to manipulate. It is the law of your own consciousness, and it responds only to what you feel, believe, and assume as true. This inner act of belief is the most powerful force you can use. It is the force that moves mountains, shifts circumstances, and transforms lives. The outer world is simply the result of what is going on in the unseen, and because the unseen world, your inner world, is the only place where change can occur, the act of changing your mind is the only act that matters. So stop looking outside for the solution. Stop measuring the world by what you see and begin measuring it by what you feel. The only action that ever matters is the one you take within. When you act in consciousness, in belief, in the assumption of your desire already fulfilled, you are doing the only work that needs to be done. Everything else will unfold naturally, without effort, because the universe must follow your inner conviction. The inner act is the only act needed. And when you master this, nothing in the outer world will ever be able to shake your peace, for you will know that the change you seek is already done. In a world that moves quickly, filled with endless tasks, distractions, and demands, we often find ourselves rushing, striving, and seeking. We are conditioned to believe that success, happiness, and fulfillment require constant movement, that we must chase after what we desire, work harder, and push more. But there is a profound truth that runs deeper than this, one that will bring you peace and power. Be still and know it is done. The act of being still is not one of passivity or laziness. It is the highest form of activity, the activity of belief. It is the quiet assurance that what you desire has already been completed in the realm of the unseen. In the stillness of belief, all things are accomplished. There is nothing left to do except to rest in the certainty of its fulfillment. The moment you truly believe that it is done, you cease to chase it. You cease to beg for it. You cease to pray for it. And in this stillness, you open the door to allow the universe to bring it to you. The truth is, all things are already completed in the world of consciousness. The desire you hold in your heart, the vision you have for your life, it has already been realized in the invisible realm. Your task is not to chase or fight for it. It is simply to align with it and accept it. You do not need to scramble to make things happen. You do not need to worry, doubt, or question the timing. In the stillness of belief, there is no room for uncertainty, for the belief that something has to be done. There is only the quiet knowing that everything is in perfect order, exactly as it should be. Then you can truly embody this stillness, when you can live in the present moment and feel as though everything you desire is already here. You become a magnet for the manifestation of your dreams. Many people misunderstand the concept of belief. They believe that belief is merely thinking positively or wishing for something. But belief is far more than that. It is the absolute certainty that what you desire is already yours. It is knowing that your thoughts and feelings have the power to shape your reality. And when you truly know this, you no longer feel the need to chase or strain. You realize that there is nothing more to do except be still and receive. There is a rhythm to the universe, a flow that responds to your inner state. When you are still, when you cease the mental struggle and the constant striving, you align with the natural flow of the world, and in that moment of alignment, everything you desire effortlessly begins to appear. This is the art of living from the end, living as though it is already done. In that stillness, your mind is not cluttered with thoughts of how or when. You simply know that the law of consciousness is at work. Your desire is already real, already completed, already done. So let go of the need to chase. Trust that what you desire is already yours. Be still and know it is done. We are often taught that success, happiness, and fulfillment require constant effort, a relentless pushing against obstacles, and a continuous striving to achieve our desires. The idea that hard work and external actions determine the course of our lives is deeply ingrained in our thinking. But there is a truth more profound and more powerful than this. The world responds to your assumption, not your effort. Your inner assumption, your quiet knowing, is what shapes your fate. And it is from this inner world that everything in your outer world is born. You may think that it is through your outer actions, the things you do, that you create your reality. But in truth, your actions are only a reflection of your inner state. They are the outward expression of your assumptions, beliefs, and feelings. The real work, the real creation, takes place within you, in the quiet space of your inner world. What you assume to be true about yourself and the world is what becomes true for you. Your assumptions are the seeds you plant in your subconscious mind, and from these seeds grows the reality you experience. If you assume that you are unworthy of success, you will create circumstances that reflect this assumption. If you assume that life is full of struggle and hardship, your outer world will confirm that belief. On the other hand, if you assume that success, love, and abundance are already yours, the world will begin to reflect that assumption back to you in ways you cannot yet see. The key to shaping your reality is not in forcing things to happen or in striving for what you think you need. It is in the quiet, unwavering assumption that what you desire is already yours. The power of assumption is far greater than any external effort you could put forth. The world is not responding to how hard you work or how much you struggle. It is responding to the vibration of your inner knowing. It responds to the state of consciousness you embody. When you act from a place of inner certainty, when you move through life assuming that everything you desire is already yours, regardless of the external circumstances, you will begin to see the world bend to meet you. This is the law of assumption in action. The outer world must conform to the inner state of being. If you assume you are worthy, the world will reflect that worthiness. If you assume your desires are already fulfilled, the world will rearrange itself to make that assumption a reality. It is in the quiet assumption, the stillness of your inner knowing, that the world moves. This is not to say that you should never act or that action is unnecessary, but the action you take will be far more effective when it comes from a place of inner certainty, from a state of mind that assumes your desire is already fulfilled. Your actions will no longer be a desperate attempt to make something happen. They will be an inspired expression of your belief in your own success. So release the need to force, to strain, to struggle. Your inner assumption is what shapes your fate. The world will respond to you not because of your effort, but because of your inner knowing. When you change your assumptions, the outer world must change to meet you. You are the creator of your reality, and it is through the power of assumption that you will shape the life you desire. In the stillness of your belief, in the quiet of your assumptions, lies the true power to shape your world. The universe responds not to your effort, but to your inner knowing, your unwavering certainty that what you desire is already done. Remember, creation is not something that happens through struggle or force. It is something that flows effortlessly from your inner world to the outer world as you live in alignment with your desires, silently assuming their fulfillment. As you embrace this truth, know that the only real work is within. When you master your inner state, the world around you will respond accordingly. Be still, be confident, and know that it is already done. Thank you for taking the time to listen and reflect on this powerful truth. May you walk in the certainty that everything you desire is already yours, waiting to appear in perfect harmony with your inner world. Stay aligned, stay still, and let the universe unfold in response to the beautiful assumptions you hold. Thank you, and may your journey be one of unshakable faith and effortless manifestation. Today I invite you to consider a transformative idea, to act as if you are not accessible. Now, this is not a call for arrogance or pretension, but rather an invitation to embrace your inherent worth, your value, and your power. You see, the way you see yourself is the way the world will see you. If you view yourself as someone with endless time to spare, others will treat you as such. But when you begin to embody the truth that your time is precious, others will respond with the same understanding. Imagine for a moment, if you will, that you are a person who is not easily accessible, not because you're distancing yourself from others, but because you understand the value of your energy, your focus, and your presence. When you begin to imagine yourself as someone who has carefully curated their attention, you will notice that everything begins to shift. This is not a mere act. This is a creative power that lies within you, waiting to be unleashed. Your imagination, my friends, is your creative force. Everything you experience in this world begins with the thoughts, the images, and the feelings that you hold about yourself. So if you imagine yourself as someone who is in demand, someone who does not give their energy away freely, the world will mirror that back to you. It will treat you as the valuable, sought-out individual you have come to see yourself as. But there's more to it. You must learn to live from the end. Live as if you are already the person who is not accessible. When you act as though you are already there, you align with a version of yourself who commands respect, whose time is not easily won. Your inner state dictates the outer world. If you are constantly giving yourself away, you will never feel the empowerment that comes with knowing your worth. While you are trapped by your unconscious mind, but when you begin to live from the place of someone who is selective, someone who values their own time, you will start to see your world reflect this new truth. Detachment is a key that unlocks your power. The more you can detach from the need to be everywhere, to say yes to every invitation, or to respond immediately to every message, the more powerful you become. It's not about being aloof. It's about creating the space for your energy to be respected. When you detach from the need for constant validation or attention, you allow yourself to become a magnet for those who understand the value of your time and presence. Resist the urge to over-explain or to justify your actions. The more you give, the less people will value what you have to offer. When you hold back, when you don't immediately give away your attention, others will find themselves wanting more. They will seek your time because they will recognize it as something rare and precious. Remember, energy follows thought. What you think about yourself, the image you hold in your mind, is what will manifest in your life. If you believe you are someone whose time is precious and whose presence is not easily available, then you will find that people begin to treat you with the respect you deserve. They will seek your attention, they will desire your time, and they will value your presence. So begin today. Act as if you are not accessible. Imagine it, feel it, live it, and watch as the world begins to treat you exactly as you believe you should be treated. Someone whose time and attention are worthy of reverence. Thank you. Understanding the power of self-perception is one of the most profound tools you can harness in your life. It is the foundation upon which everything you experience is built. Your self-perceived, the way you view yourself, influences how you interact with the world, and more importantly, how the world responds to you. The world is a mirror, reflecting back the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings you hold about yourself. If you see yourself as someone with endless time to give, others will treat you that way. But if you see yourself as someone who is worthy of respect, whose time is valuable, the world will reflect that as well. Imagine for a moment that you view yourself as a person who is not easily accessible. This doesn't mean you become distant or unapproachable. Rather, it signifies that you recognize the value of your energy and your time. When you believe this about yourself, you start to embody the qualities of someone who is in high demand, someone whose attention is precious and worthy of being earned. This shift in perception is not just a superficial change in behavior, but a deep internal transformation that affects everything you do, how you carry yourself, and how you interact with others. When you view yourself as someone who's accessible only on your terms, it sends a clear message to the world that you are someone who values their boundaries and respects their own worth. The way you carry yourself changes. You start walking with more confidence, speaking with more authority, and acting with more purpose. This self-assurance emanates from you and impacts everyone around you. People can sense when someone is confident in their worth and when they're clear about the value they bring to the table. This internal alignment creates a powerful magnetic energy that draws others in, but in a way that respects your boundaries. The key here is that this shift in self-perception begins internally. It's not about making changes for the sake of others, but about realizing and embodying the truth that you are already worthy of the respect and attention you desire. The moment you align with this truth, the external world begins to mirror it. You may notice people treating you with more respect, your time being valued more, and your presence being sought after. The act of embodying someone who is not easily accessible is not an attempt to manipulate others. Rather, it is a natural consequence of understanding and honoring your own worth. When you start to see yourself as someone who is selective with their time and energy, your life begins to shift. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your values or goals, and instead you begin to prioritize what truly matters. This newfound clarity allows you to focus on the things that nourish your soul, expand your growth, and support your well-being. You attract people who respect your time, people who understand that they need to earn your attention. Living in alignment with this version of yourself creates a sense of inner peace. You no longer feel the need to constantly seek validation or approval from others, because you know that your worth is not contingent upon anyone else's recognition. You become rooted in your own self-perception, which is grounded in the understanding that you are worthy, valuable, and deserving of respect. The way you view yourself shapes the world around you. By embodying the qualities of someone who is not easily accessible, you align with a version of yourself that commands respect and attracts opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are in harmony with your true worth. You have the power to redefine your relationship with time, with people, and with yourself. As you begin to see yourself as valuable, the world will reflect that back to you in ways you never imagined possible. Start today by shifting your self-perception and watch as the world begins to honor and respect the boundaries and value that you now recognize within yourself. Imagination is one of the most powerful faculties we possess as human beings. It is the creative force that shapes the reality we experience. What we imagine, what we envision in our minds, becomes a blueprint for the life we build. If you take a moment to truly grasp this concept, it can be the catalyst for profound change in your life. Your imagination is not just a tool for daydreams or fantasies. It is the fabric from which your reality is woven. When you imagine yourself as someone who is always in demand, someone whose presence is valuable and whose attention is not easily accessible, you are creating a powerful mental image that will eventually manifest in your external world. This image, held consistently in your mind, begins to shape how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, and how the world perceives you. The more vividly you picture yourself as someone who is in high demand, whether that's in your professional life, in relationships, or in your personal pursuits, the more your actions, behaviors, and even your body language begin to align with this image. The power of imagination lies in its ability to influence your subconscious mind. When you imagine yourself in a certain way, your subconscious begins to accept that image as truth. It doesn't distinguish between what is imagined and what is real. It only knows that you have a mental picture, and it will begin to orchestrate circumstances in your life to align with that image. As you imagine yourself as someone whose time and energy are valuable and selective, your inner state shifts. You begin to think, act, and even speak in ways that reflect this new version of yourself. Your external reality starts to reflect your inner mental picture. The people around you begin to treat you differently. They start to sense the energy that you project, an energy that says, I am valuable. My time is not to be taken for granted. This is not about arrogance or creating distance from others out of superiority. It is about recognizing your worth and acting in alignment with that recognition. It is about imagining yourself in such a way that others naturally gravitate toward you, not because you are chasing after their attention, but because you are anchored in the belief that your time and presence are precious. Imagine for a moment that you see yourself as someone who is always in demand. You picture yourself as a person whose attention is earned, not freely given. You envision people reaching out to you, not because you are desperate for validation, but because they recognize the value of your time and presence. As you nurture this mental image, you begin to carry yourself differently. You no longer chase after opportunities or relationships because you are already living from a place of abundance, knowing that what you desire will come to you when the time is right. As you cultivate this image of yourself in your imagination, you will notice that your actions follow suit. You stop over-explaining or over-committing. You stop apologizing for prioritizing your own time. Instead, you begin to set clear boundaries, communicate your needs with confidence, and walk through life with an energy that reflects your worth. People begin to respect these boundaries, and you start attracting the kind of relationships and opportunities that align with your self-perception. Your imagination is the key to unlocking the life you desire. It is not simply a tool for escape or distraction. It is the creative force that shapes your reality. By consistently imagining yourself as someone who is in demand, someone whose time and energy are valuable, you begin to align with that version of yourself. As your internal image shifts, so too does the world around you. Start today by imagining the person you want to be, and know that the more you hold that image, the more it will become your reality. You are the creator of your own life, and your imagination is the most powerful tool you have in manifesting the future you desire. To live from the end is a concept that transcends mere wishful thinking. It is not about waiting for circumstances to change or for external conditions to align in your favor. It is about embodying the truth of who you are right now, as if the future version of yourself, the one who holds their time and energy as precious, has already arrived. This idea is rooted in the understanding that we are not bound by time and space. We can shape our reality by choosing how we think, feel, and act. irrespective of current circumstances. When you live from the end, you no longer act from a place of lack, desperation, or need. Instead, you act from a place of abundance and confidence, knowing that the reality you envision is already yours to claim. At the core of this principle is the idea of shifting your mindset. Most people live in a state of constant striving, always focused on what they don't have yet, always wishing for things to change in the future. But when you live from the end, you stop focusing on the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Instead, you begin to feel as though you have already arrived. You act as though you are already the person who values their time and energy, the person who is hard to reach, the person who understands the true worth of their presence. When you begin to think, feel, and act as though you're already that person, you create an internal shift that sends powerful signals to the universe. This shift moves you from a place of scarcity, where you feel that there is never enough time, enough energy, or enough attention to go around, into a place of abundance, where you know that you are worthy of everything you desire. You begin to feel as if you already have everything you need, which creates a magnetic energy that draws the circumstances and opportunities you seek into your life. Think about it for a moment. If you were already the person who holds your time and energy as precious, how would you behave? Would you respond to every message immediately? Would you say yes to every request, no matter how inconvenient? Would you continue to overextend yourself in order to prove your worth? Or would you take time to evaluate where you invest your energy, knowing that it is valuable and that you deserve to focus only on what truly matters to you? Living from the end means that you stop seeking external validation or approval. You no longer need others to confirm your worth or tell you that you are deserving of respect. You already know your value. This confidence allows you to act with authority, to set clear boundaries, and to prioritize yourself without guilt or hesitation. You are not waiting for the world to change to match your vision. Instead, you are acting as if the change has already taken place within you. As you embody this future version of yourself, you will notice that your reality begins to shift. People will begin to treat you with more respect. They will value your time and energy because you have shown through your thoughts and actions that you do. Opportunities will arise that align with your new self-picture, and doors will open because you have chosen to live as though you are already worthy of them. The world around you will begin to reflect the new internal truth you hold. In closing, the idea of scarcity or inaccessibility is not a reality until you make it one within yourself. When you live from the end, you act as though the life you desire is already yours. You stop waiting for it to happen and start living as if it already has. The more you embrace this way of thinking, feeling, and acting, the more your external world will align with the truth you have created within yourself. The time and energy are precious. And when you live from the end, the world will begin to honor them as such. The power lies within you to shift your reality, and it all begins by living from the end of your vision. Detachment is often misunderstood as withdrawal or aloofness, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful practices you can adopt to regain control over your life. It is the art of choosing where to direct your energy, and more importantly, when not to direct it. When you detach from the constant need for validation or attention, you reclaim your power and position yourself as someone whose time and energy are not given away freely. Instead, they are reserved for those who truly deserve it. This simple shift, detaching from the desire to be seen, praised, or constantly acknowledged, creates a profound transformation in how you are perceived and, more importantly, how you perceive yourself. In today's world, it is easy to get caught up in the need for external validation. We live in an era of social media, instant messaging, and constant interaction, where it feels as if our worth is measured by how many likes, comments, or messages we receive. This creates a vicious cycle where we are constantly seeking approval, constantly trying to be noticed, and constantly putting our energy into things and people that drain us. When we operate from this place of seeking validation, we essentially give away our power. We become dependent on others for our sense of self-worth, and this dependency leaves us vulnerable. Detachment, however, is the antidote to this cycle. It is the conscious decision to pull your energy back from things that do not serve your highest good. By practicing detachment, you no longer feel the need to be constantly seen or heard. Instead, you begin to prioritize your own inner peace, your own goals, and your own boundaries. You understand that your time and energy are precious commodities that should not be wasted on seeking external approval or trying to fit into someone else's expectations. When you detach from the need for validation, you position yourself as someone who is more valuable because you are selective with your time and energy. Think about it. When something or someone is scarce, it becomes more valuable. The less you give of yourself, the more others begin to realize your worth. People are drawn to what they cannot easily have. And when you stop overextending yourself or seeking constant validation, you begin to hold a magnetic energy that attracts respect and admiration. This is not manipulation. This is a natural byproduct of honoring your own value. Detachment also empowers you to make decisions based on your own needs and desires rather than being influenced by outside forces. When you are no longer attached to seeking approval, you become clear about your priorities. You are no longer swayed by the opinions or desires of others. Instead, you act with confidence, knowing that your choices are based on your internal compass, not external validation. This clarity of purpose strengthens your presence, making you someone who commands respect without effort. Furthermore, detachment helps to protect your emotional well-being. When you are constantly seeking validation from others, you are at the mercy of their responses. If someone doesn't acknowledge you, or if they reject you, it can lead to feelings of inadequacy or self-doubt. But when you detach from this need, you are no longer emotionally tethered to how others perceive you. You become self-sufficient in your sense of self-worth, finding validation within rather than relying on external sources. This emotional freedom allows you to move through life with ease and grace, unaffected by the opinions or actions of others. Detachment is not about being distant or uncaring. It is about reclaiming your power and valuing your time and energy. When you stop seeking validation and attention, you position yourself as someone whose presence is valuable because it is not given away freely. You become more selective with where you invest your energy, and in doing so, you attract respect, admiration, and opportunities that align with your true worth. Attachment is a form of self-love, a recognition that your time, your attention, and your energy are not to be scattered in every direction. When you embrace detachment, you are in fact creating space for your true power to emerge, and the world will begin to honor and reflect this newfound strength. In a world that constantly demands communication, it's easy to fall into the trap of over-explaining yourself, whether it's justifying your actions, defending your choices, or providing excessive details about your thoughts and intentions. There's an unspoken pressure to make sure everyone understands you fully. Yet the truth is, The more you over-explain, the more you dilute your presence and your value. By revealing too much of yourself too freely, you inadvertently give away your energy and time, which are two of your most precious commodities. The act of over-explaining often stems from a need to seek validation or approval. When we explain ourselves excessively, we may be subconsciously trying to convince others of our worth or our reasoning. But true power comes when we no longer feel the need to seek external validation. We understand that we are valuable not because we have to explain ourselves, but because our presence alone is enough. When you stop over-explaining, you shift from a mindset of scarcity, where you feel that you must constantly prove your worth, to one of abundance, where you know that your worth does not need to be explained or justified. Resisting the urge to over-explain also allows for stronger boundaries. In conversations, it's easy to slip into the habit of oversharing or offering too much information because we want to connect or avoid awkwardness. But when you start to withhold some of your thoughts, some of your energy, you create a boundary that others will respect. This boundary acts as a subtle but firm signal that your attention and time are not to be taken for granted. By choosing to reveal only what is necessary, you create a sense of exclusivity around yourself, and this exclusivity only increases your perceived value. Furthermore, people will begin to see you as someone who is confident and self-assured. You do not feel the need to fill every silence or to over-justify your actions. Your silence speaks volumes, and this sense of quiet strength is magnetic. It's an unspoken message that says, I don't need to explain myself to you. You either understand or you don't. This doesn't mean you become distant or unapproachable. It simply means you have a firm sense of your own worth and are not willing to give it away carelessly. Resist the urge to over-explain. The less you reveal, the more people will desire to connect with you, realizing that your time and attention are precious commodities. Over-explaining can diminish the impact of your words and presence, whereas maintaining a level of mystery keeps others intrigued and engaged. By withholding unnecessary explanations, you create a powerful dynamic in which people are drawn to you, not because you are easy to understand, but because you are someone worth discovering. The more selective you are with your presence, the more valuable it becomes. You are not here to justify your worth to anyone. You are here to embody it. And in doing so, the world will begin to recognize and honor your true value. The power of thought is an extraordinary force that shapes the energy you project into the world. Every thought you think, every image you create in your mind carries with it a specific energy that resonates outward. This energy influences the way you experience life and how others perceive you. One of the most important truths to understand is that energy follows thought. The thoughts and images you hold about yourself, whether consciously or unconsciously, direct your energy in a particular way. When you begin to consciously focus your thoughts on a desired version of yourself, you will find that the energy you emit aligns with that image, attracting exactly what you envision. If you imagine yourself as someone who's hard to reach, someone whose time and energy are valuable and selective, your energy will naturally reflect that image. The way you think about yourself directly impacts the way you show up in the world. If you hold the image of yourself as someone who is respected, revered, and sought after, you will begin to walk through life with a quiet confidence. People will begin to pick up on this energy, often unconsciously, and they will respond accordingly. If you call the energy of yourself as someone who is respected, revered, and sought after, they will respond. Your self-perception acts as a magnet that draws people toward you, but in a way that reflects the boundaries and respect you have established for yourself. This is not about pretending to be someone you are not, but rather about aligning your inner thoughts with the truth of who you are capable of becoming. By consistently holding the thought of yourself as valuable, sought after, and hard to reach, you create a mental picture that attracts those same qualities into your life. When you think of yourself as someone who commands respect and attention without effort, that thought will permeate your being, shaping the way you interact with others and the way others interact with you. Consider this. If you constantly think of yourself as someone who's accessible to everyone, someone who's always available and willing to drop everything for others, your energy will reflect that. People will begin to take your presence for granted, and you may find that your time is constantly being drained by those who do not fully appreciate your worth. However, when you shift your thoughts to imagine yourself as someone who is selective with their time and energy, your energy will change. You will begin to radiate a quiet strength and authority that commands respect, and people will begin to treat you with the reverence you believe you deserve. Energy follows thought, not just in the way you interact with others, but in the way you move through the world. When you imagine yourself as someone who is respected and valued, you begin to make different choices. You become more discerning about where you invest your time and energy. You stop over-explaining yourself, stop apologizing for your boundaries, and stop seeking approval from others. You become grounded in the belief that your presence is enough, that you do not need to chase after attention or validation. This shift in thought and energy also affects the opportunities that come into your life. As your internal energy becomes aligned with the image of someone who's hard to reach and highly respected, you begin to attract opportunities, relationships, and experiences that mirror that energy. You may find that people who align with your new self-image begin to approach you with greater respect and admiration. Job offers, invitations, and partnerships that resonate with your value begin to show up. This is not coincidence. It is the natural result of your thoughts and energy coming into alignment with the person you are becoming. Energy follows thought, and the thoughts you hold about yourself will shape the energy you project into the world. If you want to attract more respect, more reverence, and more opportunities, start by imagining yourself as someone who is hard to reach, someone whose time and energy are precious and selective. As you hold this image in your mind, your energy will naturally align with it, and the world around you will begin to reflect that inner truth. The more you believe in your own value, the more others will, and you will attract the respect and admiration that you deserve. In conclusion, the power to shape your reality lies within you, and it begins with how you choose to perceive yourself. By adopting the mindset that you are valuable, that your time and energy are precious commodities, you will naturally attract the respect and attention you desire. When you live from this truth, you begin to embody the qualities that command reverence and admiration from others. Detach from the need for constant validation, resist over-explaining, and live from the end of who you truly are. Remember, your energy follows your thoughts, and by imagining yourself as someone who's hard to reach and highly respected, you align with that energy in a way that transforms how the world responds to you. The less you reveal, the more people will be drawn to you, and the more you hold your presence in high regard, the more the universe will reflect this back to you. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources. Use them wisely and selectively. Thank you for listening, and may you step forward with confidence, knowing that the world is waiting to treat you with the respect and reverence you know you deserve. Thank you.